we get a good idea of how you and Rusty met in the beginning of the film, but could you give us a sense of how long you were with Rusty filming to make the film?
Well, the first trip was a couple weeks, and I was with a Walmart camera. I had no intention of making a movie. And then when I started learning about the fact that Rusty's father pretty much was disowning her, and that Rusty's friends were abandoning her, I just thought, well, I can't believe that. So I asked Rusty if I could do some filming, and went to Walmart and get a camera. So then once I did that filming, I realized, well, I got to keep filming this, and then I think I made 3 or 4 more trips.
Something like that.
Something like that over the course of 8 years. And I would like to acknowledge my girlfriend Lisi Pena, who helped a lot on the movie. Stand up, Lisi. And Anthony Matt, who did the post-production. Stand up, Anthony. Yep, thank you all. Thank you. Yeah, so.
And Rusty, did your attitude towards being filmed by Herod change at all as you realized this was going to go on longer and longer?
Well, I think that it all evolved, and I think that because it took so long, that my father and my relationship became good at this point, and it became a better movie by taking so long to come about.
Excellent. Yeah. And you, as Herod mentioned at the start, you allow yourself to be so vulnerable on camera and share so much with us. Did that come easy to you? Did you have to make some adjustments to be able to be comfortable with that?
Well, as you saw, there was some tear-jerking scenes that came out, and the emotions came out, and some of them got in and some of them didn't get in. But, you know, life's a roller coaster, and we had some ups and downs with the movie, and I think Seward did a great job of editing the movie. All in all, I'm very happy with the way it came out, and it's one of these movies that I can watch over and over again.
I did want to ask Seward, what were the challenges? I mean, Herod mentioned these meetings were happening over the course of 8 years, putting that together into such a beautifully edited story.
Thank you so much. One of the challenges was that we didn't have a ton of footage of Rusty being creative and like a genius and kind of building these incredible engines, so we tried to kind of simulate that with like the montage of her showing us all these like incredible boards of documenting the progress of building her engines. But I mean, the kind of the bigger challenge was kind of like just kind of sifting through like what exactly the route we were going to take, like what was going to drive the movie, and because there's so many different things happening over that time. And kind of what I settled on was just kind of Rusty's voice and Rusty's rhythm and Rusty's kind of just like try to think of it in terms of like, well, if Rusty and I met at a bar and had a couple drinks, like what would it sound like, and that kind of thing, you know.
And you also beautifully weave in, Herod and Short, some other personalities like Shiva and Brandy from the art car circuit, and I'm just wondering when that decision was made to expand the film's reach to include them, and how you met them, and the connections made there.
Well, Lucy at Burning Man, I was already filming for a different movie, which is a 25-year film on Burning Man. And like I said, I didn't set out to make this film. It sort of happened organically. And then once I realized the power of this story, and then the fact that I started to realize that there was people in the art car community that I knew had possibly transitioned, but I never talked to them about it. Like, I don't go up to them and ask them about their transition. But then once we started filming Rusty, I realized, well, wait a minute, maybe I better talk to her and find out what's going on. And then they were open to it, and then started including them. I think when we were doing it and Rusty, it was just Rusty, I think the other characters helped broaden the spectrum of the whole process. and that there was a spectrum, not just one person. And I thought it added to it. I mean, Rusty might disagree that maybe it should have been all Rusty.
Well, I don't know about that. I think some of the Burning Man scenes could have been shortened a little bit.
Always editing. I want to give the audience a chance to give some questions. If we have any questions, raise your hand.
Well,
Yeah, over here.
I'm just curious, if you don't mind answering, what are you doing now after all your places of work is closed?
Well, at this point in time, I'm retired and taking Social Security. And anyway, I do very little work. I still am renting the shop from the new trailer park owner. And I do very little work in the shop anymore. I find a lot of peace of mind in taking care of my yard, and I've been going to the gym a lot lately.
Are you still in great shape?
Thank you.
Thanks. Do we have more out there? Yeah.
I had a question for Rusty. Did you ever reach out to find someone who was in your sort of same situation?
Transgender New Mexico Community Group kind of dissolved. Most of the people that were in it kind of finished their transition, so to say, and got their peace of mind where they were at, and a new thing came into town called the Transgender Resource Center, and newer and younger people started evolving into that, and they had a lot of groups, female to male groups, male to female groups, youth groups, and it got to the point where the people weren't respectful to each other, and they were speaking over the person who had the floor, and I just wasn't fitting in with the new Transgender Resource Center. But they done a lot of great things, such as they made it very easy now to get your gender changed on the driver's license, and they got the New Mexico Congress to be able to get your gender changed on your birth certificate this year. So that is some fantastic work that the Transgender Resource Center of New Mexico has done for our community in New Mexico.
And are you still writing? I just love the performances that you did in this film, and I'm hoping you continue to create.
Several years I did quite a bit of poetry, and I did a little piece of poetry this past year for the girl who did my eyelashes in the movie. I did a piece called Natalie's Chair, and so that's the last piece of poetry I've written. Jamila, the girl that said it would be difficult to date me, she's now living in Scottsdale. Her daughter Kestra is 17 years old and all grown up now, and I got a text from her last night that her father in Cleveland had passed away, and so she's going to Cleveland for that. So she wasn't able to come out here for the movie. But Jamila and I have stayed friends, although she was not, when it came right down to it, she wasn't really willing to, so to say, be in a lesbian dating situation. And she always says, "I love you, Rusty," and she's always been supportive of me, even though she's lived in different towns since this film was done. And she was never afraid to be seen with me, but she just wasn't willing to be seen in a relationship with me. So, but she's a great, great woman and great artist.
And since the film, and this would be a question for all of you, since the film premiered in South by Southwest, what has the response been like? Have you
The responses have been great. It's been all hugs and tears, and people have been coming to me like I've just come back from World War II. And it's just been a tremendous, tremendous response.
Excellent. I'm giving the wrap-up signal, so one more question? Yeah, go.
Would you consider writing a piece of poetry or music about the film circuit, the tour you've been on with the film?
That is a good idea to do.
Whatever inspired you.
I've been keeping all the brochures and like festival booklets and circling all the movies that I've been going to and trying to remember everything that's kind of been happening. And you know, that's a good thing for me to think about doing. We'll be in Houston on the 31st, and then a couple more movies in Northern California in October, or festivals in October. So I'm just like floating on cloud 9 since this movie's come out at South by Southwest. It's been really great, and I love all of you for coming to see the 2 films that we've had here today.
And is that, just to close on a note, is there a resource or a place where we can keep track of how you're doing and the work that you continue to do going forward?
There's a Facebook site, Why Can't I Be Me Around You on Facebook, that Herod's been posting all of this stuff. So
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.